I'm Susan Huckle. Today on LA Currents, we catch all the sights and sounds of the city's celebration of Mexican independence at El Grito. Later, Jean Seroka from the Port of Los Angeles reports to our Maria Hall Brown about keeping the nation's goods moving sustainably through the port. But first, LA is home to many creative exhibits, but none have the capacity to light up quite like Luminex. These large-scale public installations combine art with technology. Founder Carmen Zella lets Maria Hall Brown in on what makes this immersive art so engaging.
We often speak about the power of art, but what about the power of public art? In particular, a powerful presentation. I'm delighted to be joined today by Carmen Zella, the curator of Luminex, but also a wonderful founder and creator of Now Art, which is a public art group.
Yes, we're a public art agency based in Los Angeles. We're doing work across the country, but super happy and proud to call Los Angeles our home.
Now, when you say public art, how do you define that? I mean, is it just a picture, a sculpture, a mural? What is it that you feel is necessary to be public art?
Public art is about access. It's not that it needs to be a sculpture or it doesn't need to be a mural, and that's kind of what our organization is constantly pushing. So our open space is in the public. It could be anything. Some of my favorite public art, there's this one piece where there was a pianist. He was floating on a glacier in the Arctic. Playing his piano.
Now this very energetic version of public art, and you have captured that with Luminex. And Luminex is something that Los Angeles has enjoyed now for 3 incarnations. Luminex being something light-based.
Light in the darkness.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
if somebody has not seen a Luminex, how did it begin?
During COVID, all the galleries were shut, people were not accessing art. And humanity needs to thrive when we have the expression of art brought back into our streets, you know, and the artists being able to start to inspire people, capture moments of time. And so when we released Luminex, it was an idea that Paul Chavez, he's a technical director at Arup Industries, he and I really wanted to be able to bring something into the streets of downtown Los Angeles and, break it up, be able to say that art is still existing in this city, even when people were all in their homes. And so we did it in a safe way. We had it outside and we were able to project these pieces. So there's a lot of light-based festivals that happen all around the country, internationally actually. And the distinguishing factor of Luminex is that it's an art exhibition. We're really, looking to the artists to create the content. We want to have it content rich. We want to be able to have conversations and have a level of curation that's brought into the streets. Los Angeles is the creative capital of America, and it's always this innovator in that way, and so that's why it's a perfect home for a project like this.
It has its challenges, I would imagine, for you as a curator to work in the streets of Los Angeles.
Yeah.
How did you determine the best space and how this would work and how many artists you could include and what type of art could be created on that scale?
It's not easy. That's why a lot of people are not doing public art, because it's very, very challenging. You've got all these barriers. You have to be able to access the property owners. You have permits that you have to get, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So, since I've been working in Los Angeles for a while, I've made relationships and connections to be able to help with these kinds of activations to sort of bring them forward. But You know, this particular iteration, when I started working with Paul, originally, I have to be honest, I was thinking like, let's just do some guerrilla, like projector on the back of a bike, like ride around LA and just like, you know, like project. But Paul has connections with Panasonic. He has connections with different production companies like Show Imaging that we've been so lucky who came in as sponsors, because they weren't doing anything. There was no concerts, there was no nothing. The parking lot owners were empty. So it actually really strangely created a stage for us to create such a monumental installation like Luminex during COVID. It really created an opportunity for us to be able to do something like this, because in the third iteration of Luminex, we have 10 installations, but things are back. Parking lots are really hard to get. You know, people are busy, artists are busy. So it's become, you know, like increasingly more and more difficult, but because we seeded it and there's such a overwhelmingly positive response with this project, now we have the support. So the timing was actually kind of interesting there.
Or you, as the curator, gathering all of these wonderful artists, creating this amazing exhibition all over the country, not just here with Luminex, but everything that you do. How are you getting the actual intent of the artist and
the messaging? Yeah. So it's, you know, for me, it's more important that they are inspired. Actually, for me, it's, and this is for me, I'm not speaking on behalf of any one of the artists necessarily, but the concepts of their artwork has many, many layers. But the concepts start with giving them sort of like a moment where it's like, what is this? What am I looking at? And whether they walk away feeling like that was really cool, but they don't know why. This was really incredible. But even just because of the pure scale and the visual content of it all, that's a win. Because that level of inspiration will drive further curiosity down the line, where they'll start to feel a little less intimidated about art. Whether somebody gets it and understands all of the deeper content and the concepts behind each of the pieces is not really the goal. That's not our goal at all.
Why should we bother with this in the first place?
Because art is the harmonizing part of humanity that brings us all together. It's what defines us against all other species, that we create art. It's how we look back in history and understand where we come from, you know, and how we got there. It's really that moment where we are lifted beyond just the everyday, you know, momentous, like putting one foot in front of the other, watching the clock type of life. It's what gives ourselves purpose. And, you know, art is that big scope. It's music, it's dance, it's, you know, it's everything. And so what I love about the work that we do at Now Art is that we bring all of those different types of media together in, you know, we get artists that are multidisciplinary and they bring it all to you in these incredible installation moments.
Well, if people want to learn more about Now Art or you or the charitable arm of Now Art, you know, NXT or anything that's happened with Luminex, past, present, what's the best way for them to find out?
Yeah, the best way would be going to our website, which is nowartpublic.com. They can also find us on Instagram, which is nowart_LA. But yeah, it would be really great for people to reach out and hopefully, you know, participate. That's what our whole goal is with our 501c3, is that we need to be able to do this as a community and as a city and all participate in building these great art experiences for the public.
Well, I'm sure you are inspiring a lot of people just like you were inspired. So, thank you so much, Carmen. It was great to chat with you.
Thank you so much.
El Grito, the cry of Dolores, was the start of the battle for Mexican independence. Nowadays, it's more of a fiesta, honoring history, but also celebrating Mexican Americans, the largest ethnic group in Greater LA.
So today we are here in front of City Hall celebrating El Grito, otherwise known as Mexican Independence Day. Every year we rotate, who the godfather is going to be of the event. So this year it was me, and so I was very happy to give it sort of my flavor, a little bit of my history. That's why this year's theme is called La Fiesta del Pueblo, or otherwise known as the People's Party, because we wanted to really uplift the working people, the street vendors, the unions that represent workers, and make the city what it is.
Muchas gracias, buenas noches. Hoy celebramos nuestra independencia gracias a generaciones de gente humilde, trabajadora y revolucionaria que crean el camino adelante para nosotros. Hoy celebramos la gente del pueblo, a los vendedores ambulantes que están aquí sirviéndolos hoy, los artistas y los artesanos que preservan nuestra cultura para futuras generaciones. Así que gracias por venir y gracias por todo lo que hacen ustedes para continuar el legado de nuestra magnífica herencia. ¡Que viva el pueblo!
¡Que viva!
¡Que viva México!
¡Que viva!
¡Que viva los trabajadores!
¡Que viva los trabajadores!
¡Que viva la ciudad de Los Ángeles!
¡Que viva Los Ángeles!
Muchas gracias.
Vagando, voy por la vida, cántale conmigo, no más recorriendo el mundo. Y hoy me tocó en la ciudad de todos, la ciudad de Los Ángeles, California, en la fiesta del pueblo, compadre. Si quieren que se los diga, yo soy un alma sin dueña, a mí no me importa nada, para mí la vida es un juego.
We are celebrating independence of Mexico, which we traditionally celebrate on September 15, and it's a way now to celebrate our Mexicanidad, our nationality, our identity, our culture.
Tonight is a very special occasion, a tradition that has been in Los Angeles for decades. Mexicans are the largest diaspora here in Los Angeles outside of Mexico City. And so it's a really important and significant event to be celebrating each and every year for members of our community that are part of what makes Los Angeles run.
We're also celebrating Guatemalan culture, El Salvador, Peru, all these Latin American countries that typically do have their Independence Day celebrations in this month of September. We're really excited to be here today to celebrate all cultures. We know we're a melting pot in the city of LA, and so excited to be here specifically with street vendors who are catering this event for the first time.
Like a grito to tell everyone, like, welcome, we are family, we are ones, and we gotta connect to each other again. Especially after 2020 with the COVID, most of us that we are out here, we are family business owners. So you see my wife in there working, and you're gonna see my kids right there having fun. So I really appreciate the opportunity that they give us. That's a really good opportunity for all the I don't want to submit just for the Latinos, but for all the working people who come from out of the country that come to this country for a dream. And we all just came and work our tail off to make it happen. And this is a great opportunity for us to get exposure, to be known, and to grow.
My favorite thing, hey man, this is the opportunity that we get to celebrate the raza. And it's not just being Mexican, it's not just being Puerto Rico, Cubanos, but being Latinos. It's about all coming together and knowing that, hey, this is the working class, this is the blue collar class, and being able to celebrate the people that build America, and I am and happen to be with the Carpenters Union, so that's what we do for a living, and more than half of our membership is Latino. So that's what I like to see, that the community's coming together, and it's not just the raza, but it's everybody that comes out to celebrate what this moment means.
Para todos los mexicanos y más para los que están aquí en Estados Unidos y no pueden pasar hacia México. Hay mucho indocumentado, mucha persona ilegal que están viviendo aquí. Entonces es muy importante que les festejen en el país que estén. Entonces aquí lo festejan y pues ¡viva México!
Coming from the Department of Cultural Affairs, it is so exciting to see the city come together to really lift up our population and lift up our communities, to tell our stories, and to be able to help fight for our independence.
Yeah, this is our first time here. This is all new to us, so it's really exciting. It's exciting to see our community out here, everybody getting along, getting together and everything. It's cool.
You know, we recently moved to LA, so it's really nice to be out. That's why we came out to check out the community, and we're glad that this event exists.
Embrace tradition, follow the traditions, the Mexican tradition, and just like have fun. So wherever you go, don't forget where you came from.
We have mariachi, we have Mexican music right now. We have a lot of people wearing super cool outfits, and it's all about the tradition, Mexican tradition, the culture.
Tiburón, 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 tiburón a la vista, manista, un tiburón quiere comer, carnita buena no se va a poder, salte del agua mujer, vente conmigo a bailar, y agua del coco yo te voy a dar. ¡Abre esas manitas! ¡Ay, ay, ay, ay! ¡Que te come el tiburón, mamá! ¡Ay, ay, ay, ay!
I think they'll understand that no matter what hatred is being spun out there, that we're, you know, a pretty tight-knit community, and that we're beautiful, and that we're worth being here, right? And so I hope that folks continue to learn and open their minds to all these different communities that surround us here today.
I hope that they understand their culture, their history, that they feel proud of what they come from. You can be an honest and loyal citizen of this country, and at the same time feel proud of your homeland and the country that your ancestors come from.
¡Viva México! ¡Viva! ¡Viva México! ¡Viva! ¡Viva México! ¡Viva!
Port of Los Angeles wants to be #1 in the world when it comes to sustainability and environmental impact. Executive Director Gene Seroka tells Maria Hall Brown how they are closing in on their goal and how the port is the only one in the world following an environmental plan of action.
The Port of LA, fondly known as America's port, the busiest in North America and one of the busiest in the world. I am delighted to be joined today by the Executive Director, Gene Seroka. Thank you so much for being here, Gene.
Oh, Marie, it's great to be in studio.
Oh, good. Since 2014, that's 10 years of leading the port, so many changes that you have seen, so much growth. How does it feel to be part of that legacy for the last 10 years?
I'm the luckiest guy. Run to work every day. We've got so much to do, and yet when we look back over the past decade, we've done so much. Our team has been together for a long time. It's a very cohesive management team. The workforce has been great. The dock workers that move all this cargo not only really dedicate their lives to this business, but dear friends as well. So it always makes it a little bit sweeter when you really like the people you work with. And I could see that here at Channel 35.
You're not kidding. We have the best team ever. All right, so let's talk about some of the things that are literally happening. I mean, recently we had a scary and unexpected disruption with that whole global tech outage, but the port fared quite well in that scenario, did it not?
Yeah, we did, and it's really because of the institutional knowledge we have of this workforce, the people that run the businesses, and all of us at the port. We were fortunate because we have a business continuity plan. And what our marine terminals did, along with our truckers and railroads, is they immediately went back to old school. Let's do this manually. We got a call at, I think it was 03:30 that Friday morning to say, hey, this is happening. Let's get to business really quick. And our folks went back to clipboards and pencils and tried to serve those truckers. About 2/3 of all of our business is moved by truck. These are our first and last mile ambassadors. But what we saw was everybody rallying. And by about noon that day, just about everybody's system was back up and running, and we were more normal than we were at 03:30. But I was so proud to see how everybody came together to keep commerce moving.
So there was a plan in place just in case of something. Everybody knew how to cohesively and coherently put together Plan B.
That's right, that's right. And this is practiced every day, tabletop exercises, refresher courses, and when the real deal comes to play, our folks, it was muscle memory for a lot of these guys and ladies to keep that cargo moving.
There is the on-dock rail expansion, which means, for a gal who has no clue,
this is really important. Think of all these big ships that come to the Port of Los Angeles. About 1/3 of the cargo stays here in Southern California. We've got 20 million of us that go to the store every day and buy a lot of products. Another 1/3 goes out to the Inland Empire, to that large warehousing and distribution district that we have. 2 billion square feet of property under roof where we reassemble goods and ship them out to the rest of the country. These distribution centers in the interior of the country are very important to us. They can go to any other port in the country and still get to Chicago. We want those containers coming through here. So over the past 2 decades, we've built a rail network that allows us to unload a container from a ship, put it directly onto a rail car, and get to one of those 14 distribution centers faster than anybody can do it. More recently, we've built 6 miles of new rail track on our causeway in the Port of Los Angeles, 5 new rail sidings, a bridge, and a gateway now, which expands the opportunity for us to handle even more rail cargo to the interior of the country. Truly a game changer in our industry.
There's a project to fix and repair and to solidify the Vincent Thomas Bridge. It's such a critical route from A to B, but fixing it's going to be a little bit tough. I mean, Council Member McCosker has actually nicknamed it Harborgeddon. How do you think this is going to play out? Because it's imperative, but it's also a little bit of a breath holder.
In the port business, we have terminology like other agencies, safety first. It will need to be resurfaced, the Vincent Thomas Bridge, and that means closure, partial closure, People are going to have to take different routes to work and school, and it's going to be painful for most of us, myself included, because we're going to have to take different paths to do our work every day. But getting this bridge back to a state of great repair and making sure that the citizens of Los Angeles and our visitors have safe passage is job number one for us.
Where is the port when it comes to environmental issues?
This is work that has to happen every day, and that's what we believe on the environmental side of our business. Along with our neighbors at the Port of Long Beach, back in 2006, we put in the first ever Clean Air Action Plan to reduce emissions while growing cargo and jobs. To this point, we've cut diesel pollution 90%. Now, to get after that last 10 percentage points, we have an aspiration to be the first ever zero-emission port complex in Long Beach and Los Angeles. We're working very closely with the Los Angeles Department of Water and Power to bring in as much electricity as we need to go to this battery electric environment. So to try to migrate from fossil fuels to zero and renewable technologies is the goal at hand. We're the only port complex in the world to have on paper date-specific goals of 2030 for port operations and 2035 for heavy-duty truck movement to become zero emissions, the only in the world. But we can't do it alone. We need the best and the brightest engineers and scientists. We need private sector investment. And right now, with the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, we have nearly a $500 million application for funding in front of that agency. We hope to hear the answer from the evaluators in the fourth quarter of this year. And if we're right, we're going to be able to accelerate the investment in this clean technology and reduce pollution and health risk for our neighbors exponentially.
There's also an opportunity for folks to enjoy the waterfront and what the port has to offer. What are some of the things that you're most proud of, that you're very happy that the port offers?
260,000 residents live in the 1-5 district of Councilman Tim McCosker. It's an awesome responsibility, but it's been so great to see what's happened. Earlier this year, we kicked off our summer festivities with Fleet Week, and we welcomed the aircraft carrier, the USS Carl Vinson. We had so many folks coming down to take tours, and it lasted during the course of the Memorial Day holiday. Very thoughtful to remember those who came before us and offered the ultimate sacrifice for our freedom, and to celebrate with enlisted men and women today, to share how much we care about them was just inspiring. Following that, we had our Juneteenth celebration, Cars and Stripes Forever, a great classic car show down at the harbor. And then for the 4th of July, we had our first ever Olguin drone show, 500 drones, which is much more environmentally friendly than fireworks. We took a chance because fireworks are a passion of many of us in Los Angeles, but 500 drones and a light show that just lit up the southern Los Angeles skies. Tremendous event. Earlier this year, during Lunar New Year's celebration, opening up the Wilmington Waterfront Promenade. That $77 million project brings our community closer to the waterfront in Wilmington, and now today, that enclave of Wilmington has received more investment from the Port of Los Angeles than any other in the Harbor District. It truly has been a fantastic summer so far, and more to come for the balance of the year.
I have learned an enormous amount, and I am really engaged by what you are doing down there. So if I am not alone in my feelings, how can people find out what's happening?
You can look on our website at lawaterfront.org to see more about all these amazing activities and waterfront development we have. And also go to the portoflosangeles.org to see all the fresh statistics about how much cargo is coming through, the jobs we're creating. And there's also great content that's on that, from press conferences that we do monthly to active engagements with community members, thought leaders, and folks from our neighborhoods talking about what the port means to them. So there's a lot out there for our viewers to see. And again, a big thanks to Channel 35. Every 2 weeks at our board meetings, the staff is down there so we can broadcast all the happenings of the Port of LA to the citizens of Los Angeles. We're forever grateful for the work that you do.
Thank you so much, Gene. It's been wonderful chatting with you.
Great to see you again, Maria. Thank you.
Thank you. And that's a wrap on this LA Currents.